Welcome and thank you for joining us. My name is Stephen Olikara. I'm the founder and president of the Millennial Action Project. We're the nation's largest nonpartisan organization working with the young lawmakers to bridge the partisan divide. I'm thrilled to be your moderator here today to discuss the role of associations in our democracy and the importance of engaging the next generation of leaders. We're fortunate to be joined today by a number of leaders from the association community, as well as Congresswoman Stephanie Murphy, who proudly represents Florida's 7th District, which is the Orlando area, in the U.S. House of Representatives. We're also fortunate to have several leaders from the association community, including John Graham, who's the president and CEO of the American Society of Association Executives.
We're all delighted to be here.
Thank you, John. Well, I'll throw my first question to our Congresswoman here. We're here surrounded by association executives, and I know you've had the chance to work with a number of associations. Tell us what it's like being in Congress, on the House side. You're hearing information from all sorts of different places. What sort of role have associations played in the policymaking process for you?
I think one of the primary responsibilities as a representative is to start by listening, and I think associations are subject matter experts. They provide legislators the subject matter expertise about specific industries so that it better informs the way that we legislate. And you know, I've worked in the private sector. I've been on the other side of well-intended legislation with unintended consequences. And the more that we listen to the associations and incorporate their feedback and their information, the better the legislation will be.
Thank you. Linda, I want to go to you now. You have the benefit of working both in Madison as well as Washington, D.C. and in Denver. So you get to see the state level as well as the national level. So tell us more about what you've seen as far as the similarities and differences between the association involvement in government at the state level versus the national level.
I really believe that so much happens at the state level in terms of developing and enforcing policy, as well as being a place to provide the networking, education, career development that we all appreciate. And so everything from tax policies to consumer protection, all of that really is developed and enforced on the state level.
Lakeisha, I want to get you in on this conversation. So again, you've been in the kind of the thick of these sort of issues. Where have you seen associations in terms of being helpful to improving the state of our democracy?
When I think of democracy, I think of three things: protecting rights, access and equal participation by all, and then also laws that are allow everyone to be seen as equal. And that is really precisely what associations represent. We are always working to engage our community or our industry. We also want to include everyone in the process, and our goal is to provide a safe environment, whether that be, depending on the industry we represent, a meal for a hungry family to a safe, affordable roof over your head. And that is why I'm excited about working in the association space and all the issues that we try to represent to move this democracy forward.
Yeah. I want to go back to John, because I think we live in such a fragmented political environment, and that includes the media environment. And so as a result, you have policymakers who are hearing from the noisiest, probably, array of voices that our country has ever seen. And so I think that's a role that associations play. So why is it important for companies to kind of organize their voice in a unified fashion through entities like associations?
So if you think about it, from the time you wake up in the morning, from the food you eat to the clothes you wear to the cars you drive, to the roads you drive on, to the bridges you cross, to the medical procedures you have, everything a person touches every day has been affected by an association. And the Power of A is really a celebration of that. And it really puts it into a much larger context, because associations are all about economic development. They're job creators. Most people don't realize that associations are the leading providers of adult education in the United States. And the Power of A is a celebration of that fact.
Now, all of your industries in many ways are striving to engage the next generation of consumers. And so as a result, your associations need to be relevant to that demographic. So now you have the millennial generation that's coming of age, becoming the next big consumer base. And after that, you'll have Gen Z. So maybe I'll start with Linda. What are you seeing as effective strategies to engage the millennial generation?
Truly, I feel that an association relevant to millennials or the next gen is relevant to all of us. So the next gen we see as very collaborative, open-minded, innovative. Clearly they embrace technology, and so if we design our association programs to meet those needs, I think it's really best for all of us.
What I can tell you is happening in the household and commercial products industry is that consumers increasingly are asking for more transparency around ingredient labeling, both on pack and online, whether it's for food, certainly the chemicals that may be in the cleaning products that some of our members offer. So we've been very proactive working with NGOs and industry to get to a place where we can find common ground that increases the transparency that consumers are looking for and millennials are asking for in particular, but also protects confidential business information and trade secrets for the companies. And the other thing that millennials are embracing about our industry is the fact that we are creating cleaner and greener products that benefit health, public health, and the environment.
I'd like to hear your perspective on the Millennial Action Project.
Sure. Well, the Millennial Action Project was formed in 2013 when we noticed this fundamental dichotomy in our democracy. You have millennials who today have the highest levels of service participation rates in the country. They care about these major issues that we're facing, from the environment to a number of other issues. And yet at the same time, we have the least trust and confidence in government. The way our governmental institutions, the way it's so polarized and partisan and unable to build consensus is a source of disillusionment for so many young people. So we started this organization to be the antidote to that, to bring together the next generation of lawmakers who are just getting started to build bipartisan consensus and relationships that can make a real impact over the long term. So we started this Congressional Future Caucus that Stephanie Murphy has been leading, but also we've now expanded into 26 state legislatures. We have over 600 young lawmakers that are part of this, and it's really become a movement. And you can read the headlines and see all the reasons to be discouraged about politics, or you can see what young people are doing to fix it.
Congresswoman, I'd love to hear your perspective on the Congressional Future Caucus.
Well, I've been really honored to be a part of it, and have found that, there are so many important issues that affect millennials, and yet only 2% of Congress is millennial. And so as a result, those issues that are facing this generation that's going to be the largest generation in the country aren't getting the kind of attention that it deserves and is needed. And so being a part of Future Caucus has allowed us to focus on some of those issues.
I think one common value that we've seen among the association community and our work with Millennial Action Project is the need to build consensus. And if you think about it, the framers, when they talked about American democracy in the Federalist Papers, they said that we needed institutions that built consensus. And they wanted to have a large and diverse democracy. And they felt like the beauty of that is, as they talked about, the multiplicity of ideas. And through that discussion, the public interest will prevail.
And that is exactly what associations bring to the table.
So Matt, tell us more about how the Retail Federation is engaging millennials, the issues that are coming up as it relates to young people.
So 42 million Americans work in the retail industry in one form or another, and that includes lots of different generational types and a much younger, much more diverse workforce than ever before. And we know that they work differently, they learn differently, they're different kinds of consumers and shoppers. And so our members and the NRF have developed a whole range of programs to engage them, to reach them, to educate them, to introduce them to the opportunities that exist in the industry. I think that's what we see going on right now across the economy, in politics and business, is you see there's a little bit of sort of a tectonic plate sort of shifting, generational change, ethnic change. You've got majority-minority congressional districts. This will be a majority-minority country in 2050. And we have to be ahead of that. We have to embrace that if we're going to be successful and deliver the things that our members want and that these consumers need.
It's known that companies who are more diverse and inclusive have a better bottom line because they're bringing together people who actually challenge things that are being said, people who bring a diverse viewpoint that may not carry the day but might change the decision in a way that makes for a more impactful product or service.
I think that's how companies stay on the cutting edge, is having those diversity of views. If we want our nation to stay on the cutting edge, we need Congress to do the same thing.
Well, we live in the greatest democracy in the world, but democracies are representative government. We don't yet have a government that represents the diversity of our country. And so I'm proud to be the first Vietnamese American woman ever to serve in Congress. And I think it's just one step in the direction of ensuring that we continue to diversify the lawmakers so that you do have different perspectives. And but it also makes it even more important to be able to do so civilly, right? Because when you have a lot of different views, you need to be able to engage with one another with respect and with civility.
Well, we're here talking about the future of associations, and we had a few more association representatives join us.
Yeah, I was really encouraged to hear the Congresswoman talk about solving problems. That's what associations do. And it struck me about the great thing about diversity, was touched upon that discussion, was how it brings new perspectives to solve those problems.
That diversity of thought is critical.
Yeah.
I think the world economy is changing at a pace we've never seen before. And if Congress and business across the United States can't keep up, we're going to be left behind.
That's
and
right.
I think associations, we have a responsibility to our members to help pull them forward and make sure they're prepared to face the new economic realities.
And help to push really the way we do things in our thought process into a more forward-looking, we have to be more nimble, we have to be faster. It's imperative that we do embody best practices and we do live our values and we espouse those things so that we can better serve our constituents and our members.
And you have to lead. You have to lead by example. And I think when you look at the associations that do it right, they have leaders who imbue this culture of find the best practice.
It's interesting to me, like John, I've been in associations for a while, and to see the evolution. And you can see that when I first started out, associations did not want to touch any social issues. That was seen as bad business. Now, because of courage, because of leadership, and that's what leadership is, they are taking a stand.
It's now expected, though, but from not only our members but our staff, that associations are going to be more broad in their thinking and not just narrow into their own self-interest, but really it's expected now that associations are going to take more of a stand and be more public about those things and speak out about those things, because it's important to the workforce that's coming in, it's important to our volunteers, it's important to our members, and they're really demanding that associations step up and be accountable.
I think that's a great point, John. I appreciate being a part of ASAE and kind of seeing you guys lead the path. So we can see a heavy hitter like ASAE come out with strong statements about diversity, inclusion, and sexual harassment and other social issues, and then mirror that in our own organizations.
As I reflect on our conversation, I think one of the big themes is the importance of in our democracy to have consensus-building organizations, and that's what the association community is trying to do. The second thing is the importance of engaging millennials and how important that is in creating a vibrant democracy for the next 50 to 100 years. One of the slogans I've heard just being around association representatives is that America works best when everyone has a voice. And I think we need to stay committed to that mission, and I'm grateful to work with all of you to do that. So thank you to ASAE and to ITN Productions for giving us this opportunity, and I look forward to working with all of you in the future.